Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So I have kind of infuriating news. Democrats learned nothing. They learned absolutely nothing from this past election and this embarrassing defeat by a literal convicted felon, by someone who is literally an adjudicated sexual abuser. That's who they lost to. um, there was very strong messages sent to the Democratic Party. If they look at the stats, if they look at the polling, if they see who moved over to Donald Trump's camp, who voted for him, it's just unbelievable that they're taking no lessons from it. So this was a perfect example this week. What happened is, let me give you some backstory too. Democrats, as you all know, won New York. They won the state of New York, but Donald Trump won more votes in New York than he did in the 2016 or 2020 election. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez noticed, she is a progressive Democrat, for those who don't know, she noticed that in the 2024 election, there are a lot of people who voted for her down ballot as a congresswoman, but they voted for Trump at the top of the ticket. So she asked them, she put out on social media, hey, don't want to slam you, I'm not trying to cause you any grief, but I would like to know, why was I able to secure your vote, but yet you chose Trump as the president? Because they have completely divergent views. Like, they could not be more different as far as their policies and what they think and how they behave. I mean, from top to bottom, all right? So these people came back and said to her, I wanted change. I want change agents. I want someone who is a fighter. I want people, elected representatives who are willing to fight for me, not corporate interests. Now, you and I know, right? If you're on the left, you know Donald Trump is a total corporate whore. Like, he gave everything to them in his first administration. One of the very first pieces of legislation that he and Republicans passed was a massive giveaway to the wealthiest people in this country. It ballooned the debt. It screwed over average Americans. That was like their biggest accomplishment in his entire 4 years, basically. So I don't know if those people just weren't paying attention. I don't know if they just, started getting involved in politics. I don't know if it was just a lot of young people who, as I've said before, were just too young to know what Trump's first administration was like. But that's where they stand. They're looking for fighters. They're looking for a new generation. Even though Donald Trump is not young, they want a new path forward. They want something fresh and different. They are tired of the corruption. They are tired of the oligarchy in this country. They want people, they want representatives who care about them and their lives and who are going to make radical changes. And they saw Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as that change agent in the House. They saw Donald Trump as the same type of change candidate for president. So that brings us to this week, when AOC decided she was going to throw her hat in the ring, or maybe it was last week that she announced it. She wanted to be the lead Democrat in the House Oversight and Accountability Committee. So she is already basically like the co-chair. She is, it was Jamie Raskin, Democrat Jamie Raskin, was the leader for the Democrats in that committee, but he made her kind of second in command. He trusts her. He wanted her in that position. She has done a phenomenal job of holding corporate interests and lawmakers' feet to the fire. Which is what you're supposed to do. That's what that department is all about, oversight, right? So she announced her intent to seek the position because Jamie Raskin announced that he was going to lead a different committee. So she said she wanted this position because she planned on, quote, holding administrations accountable and taking on the economic precarity and inequality that is challenging the American way of life. Okay? This committee, like I said, it's responsible for ensuring that presidents are held accountable, also corporations, big moneyed interests. That is what she's good at. And she has proven she comes prepared. She knows her subject matter. She studies this stuff. She takes them to task. She holds them accountable. So everybody, who should know better and cares about this kind of stuff, cares about holding these people accountable, wanted her in that position. Unfortunately, that is not the way things went down. The majority of Democrats voted against her. They instead voted for Virginia representative, he's a Democrat, Jerry Conley. Conley is, I'm sure, he's a nice man, but he is a standard issue establishment Democrat. He is not one who has, he's been in Congress for a long time. He is not one who has ever been known to hold corporations accountable. He is not out there fighting for the average American. That's not his gig. That's not his thing, right? He is also 74 years old, and he has been diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which has a very low survival rate. So he is likely to undergo very intensive treatment, possibly surgery to remove his esophagus. Doctors told journalist Ken Klippenstein that they're surprised that Conley isn't resigning. That's how serious this illness is. They're like, what is going on? Why is this guy taking on more responsibility? He's taking on a very stressful position when he should be going home to relax and rest and get his treatment, which is going to be very difficult. So why did they vote for him? Why did Democrats decide to go against what their own voters want? In a word, Pelosi. She strikes again. So she reportedly has been whipping the votes for Conley from her hospital bed in Germany, where she is recovering from a fall and a hip replacement. So this, according to reports, this goes back way to the beginning when AOC first came into Congress. This is, I think, her third term. So, 6 years ago or whatever it was when she first came in, I think 2018, in the midterms, she was elected. She just doesn't like her. Pelosi does not like her. Pelosi doesn't like progressives in general. How she continues to be reelected over and over and over again in California, it just blows my mind. I have no idea. This woman wants people in Congress to be able to use insider trading for their stocks. She goes against everything progressive. Everything. Again, she will fight the Republicans on topics of the day, but never policy, and especially not policy that is economic. Any economic policies that will actually help the American people, she is not on board. She will play the game. She will pretend that she is. But when it comes down to it, that's all it is with her, is a game. If she knows that a very populist policy is in a bill and it's going to go to the Senate and get tanked, she was happy as Speaker of the House to pass it in the House, because then she can blame the Senate. It's their fault. Oh, they didn't pass it. See, we here in the House, we're very progressive. I wanted this to pass. I really care about you. But she shows her true colors in things like this. So when people say, "Oh, why don't you like Pelosi? Why don't you trust her? Why do you talk shit about her?" This is why. This is why, because she undermines the American people. She just does just enough, puts just enough frosting on that cake so you don't see what's underneath. So you don't see that it's falling apart and crumbling and dry and tasteless. So do not fall for it, people. This is the reality. This is why she chose Hakeem Jeffries to replace her. This is why she wanted to groom him and make him the next Speaker of the House, because he is cut from the same cloth. She would never in a million years turn over the reins to a true progressive, to a true populist, which is what the American people want. They want to keep the status quo, which means they make all their money from their big dollar donors and they do whatever they want. They do their bidding. They pass policies that only their big dollar donors are happy with. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we don't have Medicare for all. This is why we don't have a higher minimum wage. This is why we don't have the child tax credit still. This is why Democrats allowed it to run out. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? This is why we don't have paid family leave. It's because of this crap, because people keep voting in, re-electing people like Nancy Pelosi, who she's got hers. She's a, 100 millionaire. She is very, very wealthy. So anyway, there you go. Just infuriating. Like I said, they're never going to learn. They're never going to learn. I have come to the conclusion, and I hate to say it, that the Democratic Party needs to be burned down the way the Republican Party is eventually going to get burned down. We have to let it just implode. We have to let these people keep doing what they're doing and ignoring the voters until they get so wiped out that they have no power and their billionaire donors don't care to give them money anymore because they can't really do anything for them anyway. So I think that that's the only way. Somebody said that to me years ago when Donald Trump first ran, and I thought it was so dangerous, and just, I thought, oh my God, we can't do that. We can't allow that to happen. We can't leave the country in the hands of the Republicans, especially not Trump. But they don't learn. The Democrats, the establishment Democrats, do not learn. They're like children, and the timeouts are not working. So we need to bring in some corporal punishment. And I don't mean go attack them. I don't mean anything physical, harm them. No, do not do that. Do not even consider it. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking metaphorically speaking, they need an ass kicking. So, and apparently 2024 wasn't enough. All right, I will let you all know if I hear more, but yeah, there we are. So please like this video, please share it so other people know what's really going on and how this all worked out and why. Please donate if you possibly can. Hit the subscribe button if you have not. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.